Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of week 2 of the NACL, or the LCS Challengers League. I'm Kangas, and I'm happy to be the guest for the day with Magical and Beatdown as the casters. And Magical, I gotta say, we're gonna start with this bit because our producers were roasting you. Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, 1920's called. They want their newspaper back. Hey.
That is one of the worst accents.
You workshopping it?
That was no, that was not the workshop. That was we just went live, and I hadn't thought about it, but I committed to the bit right there, Beatdown. How you doing, Beatdown, by the way?
I'm doing great, thank you. And I gotta say, I do appreciate your commitment to the bit, because, we love that around here.
Hey, if there's one thing that we learned from last year, it's that we just need to commit more. People will think it's less cringe if we just, really lean into it all the way. And speaking of cringe, we actually have a comeback of one of our fan favorites from last year. We're going to be playing this pretty much every day of the broadcast this weekend. So let's take a look at Mazel wrangling the Wrestlers on the range.
Welcome to another year of On the Range. Now, we've been busy this offseason acquiring some new territory. We got some new, some old, some rough and rowdy. Let's go and check them out, shall we? Now, one of the new bloods we got is Masu. He's in a bit of a migratory pattern while he flies to LA, but that ain't gonna stop him. No way. The wild turtle getting lower and lower. Is it enough? No.
Oh, no.
And that was on 120 ping. Now, another youngin' we have on the range is APA. And in instances like these, it's important to plan ahead. Luckily for Appa, he always does. Yep.
Concept following up, APA big. Buying the space. Concept taking a lot of damage right now. Throws out the all-in. First to fall.
Now that we've gotten some of our youngins nice and rassled, let's go see how our more mature members are doing. Caution now, we're gonna be walking into the top lane kingdom. Now next up we got good old Bradley. He's the last remaining member of his prize pack. But don't let his early antics fool you now, or he'll serve you up some of that humble pie.
Young, even with Prismal on top of him, I think Bradley's got it. That's another one. He's got Prismal too. Pentakill to Bradley.
Now, as we come around the bend here, make sure you got your flex protection on, or Hanser will get you. Whoa, watch out now. Whoa, Nelly. Is that a real weapon? Arms are flying everywhere! Now this next part of the range is a little bit scarier. We're gonna go check in on our crocodilian friend from down under, Surdy. He likes to hang out with the creepy crawlies of the world, but if he gets you in his sights, boy, he'll get you. Woo! It looks like I got my work cut out for me wrestling all these new critters this year. But as always, thanks for tuning in to an episode of On the Range, and we'll see you next time.
I don't think anybody commits to the bit as much as Mazel does for that Texan. It's just a classic character.
I mean, it's also the fact that he is Texan.
You know what? Yes. Mazel is the craziest background of anybody I've ever known. He's Texan and he's French. Those are two combinations that just seem like really weird when you put them together. But you know what? I think it works out for some content. But speaking of content... Is it?
No. Cajun comes from Acadia, and they move from up there down south and all that jazz. It's a complicated
you know what,
history.
Americans? I'm sorry I asked.
I have no clue. Yeah, the Canadians trying to explain to us what Texan culture is like.
It was a question.
It was a question. You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. Also, we did get some Canadian content out of you too, so we're gonna milk you for as much as we can. Speaking of content, we had, of course, a lot of tweets going out from all the teams from the community, so we want to take some time to highlight some of the conversations happening around the week. And I gotta say, Masu's Jhin was insane. Did either of you catch this game?
Yes, I did. And the base defense, that triple kill that he got. I also there's the other game where he flashed over a wall to get a triple kill, where he's just like, yeah, you know what? I can do whatever. I'm playing.
And during that, he had a Hydra, and he got a kill with the ult, and the Hydra splash damage got the kill.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, where it it was the first shot got me a really low, and then the second shot hit, I forget who it hit, but because of that AoE, it barely did enough damage to pick up the kill.
So, Ravenous Hydra Jin beatdown. That's something to be on the lookout going forward. Take a look at the next tweet here as we cycle through. Keep in mind, we haven't seen any of these, so we're going to be reacting to them, or at least not the ones that we're showing on stream.
I love
they let him
fan
cook.
art content. Yeah,
I
exactly.
do like that. That's really cool.
This is, of course, for LCS. I believe that is Spica. He was also featured on the broadcast. Cooking, literally, although technically baking, but we will let it slide. Cooking on broadcast after a great performance there. So cool to see a lot of FlyQuest love. Let's take a look at the next one, though.
Before we get into that, we need fan art of Path to LCS. So people, get on this. Come on.
Yes, and we have a lot of great artists in the community, so I'm sure that could happen. Let's take a look at Spawn's tweet. Played against Chovy in game 1, apparently. Balulu, so he kind of slaps, no? Glad I have 4 bans. Good bounce back in game 2. NASA's so funny in the Zeri 2 melees. We try to complete another 3-1 weekend tomorrow versus AoE. See yas then. I believe they did go 1-1.
Yes, they did.
Because Balulu did pop off on the Zoe.
I think 8-0. I think off the top of my head.
9, didn't die. Lots of kills. A literal menace on Summoner's Rift.
First day in a Challengers League as well, and was able to put out that kind of performance.
Balulu coming in from the Turkish League, already impressing us here in the mid lane. Let's take a look at the next one, though. Spawn's just getting, like, rivals now. He first Gobs it, now Balulu's going to be here. The APA parent tweet! Let's go!
I love it. I love these kind of tweets. Whenever a parent gets involved and supportive of their kid in the league, it melts my heart. I have an icy heart. We all know this. I'm pure evil, but it will still melt my heart. Yes, don't question it.
All right, I'm not questioning it. But yeah, it is a great thing when you see parents so interested. Like, it isn't just APA's parents. There are so many, like, players at this level of play, collegiate, things like that, who have parents supporting them, you know, doing their best to learn what esports is all about, and you love to see it. What else can we say?
Yeah, I think even Winnie, if I remember. So we interviewed somebody yesterday.
That's true.
Everyone's shouting out their parents these days. So we love the support of parents. Let's take a look at the last tweet, though. For what the community was saying from day 1. Okay, you wanted fan art. Look at this.
There we go. That slaps.
Wait, this is incredible.
Shadow Sleepy Kirby. That's really good.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, okay, so who we got? We got Jinx.
Poros too.
Yeah, same. Like
Jinx,
and
Lux, Soraka, Echo. Who's the bottom left? Oh, Annie.
Annie. Yeah, Annie.
Okay.
Oh, bruh.
Well,
Annie's not very popular. We don't see her very often. You know what happens. It's okay. Yeah. We're nice around here.
I have played every single champion this game. I know. I should know what all of them look like.
All right, next mission is draw each of us as one of those monkeys. Wow. You know? So we need like the gray jacket with the floral pattern shirt. We need a 1920s newsie, and we need beatdown. Our producers had a roast for you as well, but I'm not remembering what it was off the top of my head. But if you want to be featured on the show, not only during the days themselves, but also talking about the show, tweeting out fun fan art, things like that, make sure you're using the hashtag NACL on Twitter. We'll try and get you live on the show, but also the next day to highlight some of the cool things the community's talking about. Which I'm going to guess you'll probably want to be talking about this next one that we're going to full send here. Is talking about committing to the bit. Let's send it over to our Super Heavyweight Smackdown.
Are you struggling with hype in your life? Well, worry not, friend. This Sunday, we'll have the perfect solution to this problem. Be sure to tune in for an unforgettable night of emotion, discovery, and excitement at the Super Heavyweight Smackdown!
You're not gonna want to miss it, because if you snooze, you lose. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man fell from LCS all the way to amateur, but like a phoenix rising, he scorched the competition on the way to the top. The best performing individual player from Summer Proving Grounds 2022. He's madness, he's the rage, he's insanity. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man knows what it means to have vengeance on his mind. For 2 years, he helped carry his old team into top 3 finishes, but never won a title. Now, with a new team, he's ready to show what LCS ready really means. You can imitate, but there's no way to duplicate. It's copy! Sit down for a match that transcends the NACL. It's a semi-pro slugger. I'll see you there on the Rift.
Deserix is now, you have to understand that he set the bar so high that every week we're going to need to do one of these, and he's going to have to redo the whole song, do a whole, like, a VO for it.
Yeah, the VO.
Yeah. We work on the script together.
WWE when. That's what I got to say. It's just
honestly.
When, please.
Honestly. He is continually pitching to our producers a bit where he throws me through a table, and I'm very concerned that that's actually going to go forward.
Hold on. That has been pitched since last year. That's not a new thing.
Yep, and he's wearing them down. So it's probably going to happen at some point. But let's take a look at the standings going into the day, because, of course, we've had a full weekend of games, another day yesterday, and no team is undefeated. Beat down everybody that was 4-0 going into yesterday went 1-1 in their series, so no one perfect record, nobody without a win yet.
I will say the one exception to that is Wildcard, who actually got 0-2'd yesterday. But with that in mind, you're right, Kangas. No one is lossless, and I mean, this is kind of what we expect, and the nice thing about this format too, because when you have 2 games guaranteed every 2 or 3 times a week, you're gonna have teams try things out, and sometimes these things you try out work and they don't. And I like that because one, it's just nice that no team is like firmly on the very top, and I imagine as things go on, things are going to get even more mixed up.
Also, respect out to Wildcard for attempting the Alawi Heimerdinger comp in game 2.
That, didn't you?
No, it was working. It was working. It was just one fight that just kind of fell apart, and then they could never set up again, and it broke my heart.
Moose Hater is showing just how deep his champ pool goes. But let's take a look at the schedule that we will have on this Twitch stream. A reminder, you can also pull up twitch.tv/Challengers League because you want to be supporting both. But these are matches ahead of us today. All best of 2s with Golden Guardians versus Immortals, 100 Thieves versus TSM, and then Team Liquid versus AoE to round out the day.
You're lucky that none of the teams that we have today are like the secondary teams. So it's like you just said Golden Guardians, IMT, 100. It's like but there's like Team Liquid first. You forgot. You're ignoring by not saying Challengers. You're forgetting about CLG Faith, Fly Fam.
Well,
come on, man.
Team Liquid's the only one that had an issue about that. And if anybody in the audience heard, I did slow down because I was unsure. But
you should have just gone with Challengers in the first place.
And a warm welcome, because in our first match, we do have a player coming in. He had his first games yesterday. Balulu from the Turkish League is in the North American Challengers League, or LCS Challengers League, rather, on his way to challenge for potential future LCS opportunities going forward. So let's take a look at the full...
Let's do a quick over-under on how many games it will be until Balulu gets to play Vel'Koz.
Ooh, so was he banned against him yesterday?
It was banned. Yeah. So I'm gonna set it at 4. So over or under?
I think Golden Guardians is gonna leave it up
4 games,
today.
and then you'll finally get it.
I say 1. I say he gets a game 2 of this series.
Under.
I'm saying over. I'm gonna say
over. Okay, so we got an under and over. Perfect. Now we can move forward.
All right, let's move forward by looking at the rest of the roster. Obviously, Balulu is very hyped. ADD turning heads. Chad in the jungle, a mainstay at this point in the North American Developmental League, skyrocketing year over year, just continuously improving. And then Wixie Joey coming in the bottom lane. We even have some tape to take a look at from these teams. But overall, Beatdown, this is one of those rosters where their ceiling is incredibly high.
And I think the most exciting thing about it for Immortals in particular is, I mean, Wixie's a player we've had a lot of hype with in the last year. I mean, part of that legendary AoE Ginger Turmeric run during Proving Ground Summer. And on top of that, I mean, Balulu's game yesterday was insane. We saw Spawn's tweet earlier. Basically, they felt like they were playing against Chovy because he was smashing in game 1. And at this point, Team Liquid Challengers forced to ban not only the Vel'Koz like we were highlighting, but also that Zoe. And I have a feeling yesterday's performance means that Zoe, because she isn't that popular, even though she is pretty good at the moment, is something that teams probably aren't ready for just yet.
Plus, Balulu likes to play a lot of those skill shot type champions. We already, highlighting the Vel'Koz, but another one that he likes to play is Xerath, and we already have another Xerath player too. So you got to see what we got to witness with the Zoe. I purposely wanted to have one clip of this Zoe gameplay.
Serenok versus Balulu. That's going to be a fun
exciting
matchup. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes out for it. Loves the artillery mages, loves to play along with range, and that... Overall, it feels like Immortals just have a lot of firepower, and they can carry through multiple lanes. Their opponents today, however, are Golden Guardians Challengers, young is the player that immediately jumps off the screen. He just got to debut in LCS on Thursday and Friday because, of course, Gory, visa issues, was not able to play. So Young already has experience on the LCS stage, even though he's only just getting into the Challengers League and had his first games at this level last weekend. Beatdown, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on a player like Young.
I think that's, if you're a fan of Young or this roster overall, I think you're really going to be happy about how he did in the LCS because it was an opportunity because, Gory couldn't come, visa issues. That's just the theme of spring this year and maybe every year. But Young, a player, so much mechanical skill from what we've seen, able to play so many different styles, played in the LCS, and sure, didn't win. But if you look at his individual performances and his laning against LCS mid laners, everybody, just to make sure that's clear, he actually handled himself very well.
He looked really good. Like, despite losing, the guy looked really good stepping into the LCS.
They were looking like they were going to win that Evil Geniuses game against Jojo Pyun. And Young on the Aurelia was a big part of it. We'll even see some tape from the rest of the team, too. I want to take some time to highlight all the members on the Golden Guardians Challengers roster, at least a couple other win conditions for them. Even if Young's the big standout performer for me, I still think Array has also been playing incredibly well as a secondary threat on this team.
He's been really positioning well. If you look at a lot of the fights, this is something that we always praised Array for previously, even in their losses last year, was how well this guy positions around team fights and rarely seems to get caught out. He gets caught out every once in a while, as ADCs do, but for the most part, he knows exactly where he needs to stand to pump out the most damage with taking the least amount of actual attention.
You can tell when you watch the Golden Guardians Challengers game so far, Rosethorn is playing around Young, but Array is always this secondary threat. Concept still getting left on an island. I'm sorry, Concept. Maybe one day you will play strong side top lane, but for now it seems like the team is just happy to let Concept play weak side.
Just give him Mundo, please.
I would love to see that.
I will say, I think I can really appreciate that Concept because last year they were really leaning on his unique champion pool. But I think this year we can really appreciate his effort to learn and play better on more meta top laners.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to flex the champ pool going forward. Speaking of, we're ready for pick and ban. So let's see what Concept gets put on this time around as Golden Guardians and Immortals are ready to go.
Thank you once again, Steve. Always good having you on the desk with us. But we are diving into this first game of our first series. It is day 2 of week 2. Golden Guardians Challengers, Immortals Challengers, both of them towards the bottom of the standing so far, having rough starts to their splits. But I'm looking at how they can bounce back from that. We talked about Young and how he performed well in the LCS, and now he's going up against Balulu, who had a pop-off performance yesterday in his first game that he had here in NACL.
Yeah, and that's already exciting in its own, and I really want to expand on what you touched on with both of these rosters. We both 2 and 4 having earlier struggles. I mean, of course, Immortals didn't have their full roster yet. They only just got Balulu yesterday to join them. And on Golden Guardian side, things just haven't been working out. So it's an interesting thing to look at what's been working for these teams and what hasn't been. And I want to talk about, since we were highlighting Array, I got to talk to him early this week, and he talks about how week 1 didn't go well for them. Fully admits that it was a wake-up call for him and the rest of the team, citing that he believes that they can win tournament and play up with the best of them, and he can be one of the better AD carries, but they realized that they needed to work harder. And I think that's something we're going to see going forward here and see what that kind of effort culminates into, because we already highlighted they got a lot of good pieces on that side. Yeah,
and might see a little bit of an adaptation. I was expecting to see the stale bot lane that we've had pretty much throughout these first few weeks with the Zeri traded for Lucian Nami. But Wixie is a very fun player to watch. Callista, Draven, these are champions that you always have to look at that he could possibly play, and there's the Draven.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's no reason he doesn't play this. You can grab the Nami, which he laned with early on. You have a lot of different avenues to go for. Even technically the Blitzcrank, since we've seen Joey lock that in as well, but it's going to be the Nautilus for that all-in, for that lane pressure. And I think, honestly, regardless of what ends up coming through, probably I'm leaning towards Lulu, but it could also be Yuumi. I think Immortals are going to put a lot of focus on this bot lane.
See, I know Yuumi is kind of in the pairing to the Zeri, but I prefer Lulu here against Draven especially to try to deny a lot of that damage with Polymorph.
You know what? I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of Yuumi in this scenario, but I like the Braum, which is really interesting. I mean, really, you don't see it very often, but it is good, especially into these lanes where there's a lot of threat. That unbreakable wall offers a lot of defensive capabilities, and you still can start fights off with that ultimate.
Okay, and Sejuani then going to be what Rosethorn or Concept plays, because we have actually seen that put in top lane, even though it hasn't been there for quite some time, is showing that it's still a niche pick. And Concept, as we talked about before, does like a lot of these niche styles in top lane, though Cassante has been the go-to for Concept so far. But I'd much prefer to see different things out of Concept. Concept hasn't had the best performances on Cassante just yet.
Oh, and I mean, now it's going to be tough because that's a matchup that would be a little difficult for him later on into the game. So we'll see what Concept ends up rolling with here. I think what I'm liking so far about these drafts is something I've been noticing yesterday, last week, with these teams is that, I mean, that whole Enchanter focus, which is, fine in itself, they're very good, leads teams to drafting comps with very little CC. And I think we've seen some teams struggle for specifically that reason here. So I kind of like the shift. We're seeing these supports, CC, tankier, able to team fight effectively with their crowd control. And I'm excited to see like how this matchup is going to go here. I think IMT, of course, need a little more in their camp at the moment.
I thought you were about to say Golden Guardians needed more. And I was about to say, bro.
Great, buddy. Don't you
I was
worry.
about to say,
look, we got
that's a lot right there. 2
and 3, they're already looking good in the CC department. Don't you worry.
Okay, good. But I do agree that IMT definitely need to bring a little bit more of that CC, the crowd control, looking at what Chad wants to play, maybe even Balulu, because right now, we're in the second part of the bans. Renekton taken away from Concept, something that could match up against Fiora, the skill matchup. But then we have Azir and Kassan, 2 mid lane bans. And this kind of leans into what we were talking about before with Balulu and that Vel'Koz.
Right, and I mean, I don't know if we'll actually see it here. I
don't think so either, yeah.
Golden Guardians will leave it up, and I think that's the right call, at least not getting rid of it first rotation here. Balulu, still worth noting, has the Zoe available. We'll see if that's the route they want to go, and it's looking like no, they want to remove the Syndra. And I mean, Golden Guardians, they have a lot of all-in potential here so far, so I think it makes sense they're just leaving the Zoe. I don't think Balulu's actually going to go for it.
Well, I think there's now opportunities, because we knew that Chad was going to get his jungle pick here, going for Viego, something he played a lot last year. But this leaves that final pick for Balulu, giving everything to the new player coming into the Challengers League, saying, it's your second series. We want to make you as comfortable as possible going up against Young, who's already proved that he can handle himself against LCS mid laners.
Yeah, it's worth noting, despite the really good performance yesterday, Balulu getting to talk to the team hasn't had very much scrim time. He came
I think he got in Thursday.
Yeah, I think they got like 1 or 2 scrims going through here. Oh. So trying to set him up, figure out where he fits in the team is the biggest thing for him right now.
Does Concept go? This is a classic Concept pick. No, but it's Cassante. See, I'll be honest, I'm not too thrilled with it, just because we've been seeing Concept only playing the Cassante really this split thus far. But it's also understandable with how strong he is.
Yeah, and it makes, even though you get outscaled inside, you're an excellent team fighter. So I think as long as Concept plays things well in the early laning phase and in team fights, he's still going to find a lot of value here.
Joey.
Yeah, I know. That's shade of Concept right there.
It's also former teammates, It is. Oh, Steve is right. The under.
Steve was right.
He got it right away too. That's the first game.
Yeah, like immediately right out the gate, Balulu says, "All right, you're gonna leave up the Vel'Koz." He's gonna go ahead and throw that one out here. Kangas in our ears telling us to suck it. I mean, he was right, and that's actually really
I'm the one who put that out there. I did not have a dog in the race.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But the point is, too, I think it ends up fitting because, one, like, into Akali, I mean, it really sucks being a melee. Like, you're going to get poked out. We've seen Balulu so good at landing these skill shots. So I think it offers a lot of zone control as well. You get to these objectives first as IMT challengers. You're looking at Nautilus, Draven, Viego, and something like the Vel'Koz. You got a lot coming at you if you don't have proper vision set up.
No, I mean, I'm just kind of looking at both these comps, and I'm trying to figure out the identity, really, of Immortals, because Golden Guardians is very simple, right? You look at a lot of CC, you talked about that before, and you were talking about getting the vision set up to try to counteract what Immortals want to do for Golden Guardians. But really, I'm still kind of looking, is it purely just trying to get ahead in these lanes, set up Chad for his early signature ganks, and then snowball out of control, or do they have some other game plans in mind?
I think it's definitely, I mean, we know Chad as a jungler to be that kind of player where we have the joke that's not really a joke, where it's not a matter of if Chad will gank by 3 minutes, it's which lane. And that's what he does. Like, I got to talk to him as well earlier in the week, and he's telling me how, like, he has a lot of focus on his early game plans. Everything that we see him try to do, it's all thought out, and more often than not, when it works, it shows us the strengths of a player like him, where he can set up his lanes for success very often in the earlier parts of the game, and this is just yet another opportunity for him to do so, especially because you have this bot lane you definitely want to be playing for. You have Bolulu, your new mid laner, on his signature Vel'Koz pick in a favorable matchup as well to play for.
I love it too, because we had the graphic ready to welcome Lulu in today, not the first day he actually played, and it had the Vel'Koz graphic, and of course the day we actually show that graphic, he plays Vel'Koz right away.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. It's like we scripted it almost.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
almost.
Almost. Yeah, of course. Things just work out that way, which you love to see. And we'll see how this one plays out. He is running the Ghost first strike.
Ooh, late invade.
Oh, yeah, I love
Spotted this. Out. I like this. Joey looking for the pull. Going to be able to pull back, but it's only Braum. So not going to take too much damage. A nice shield set up, but red buff should be secured by IMT, because look at mid lane. Bolulu already gaining control over Young. There's no way you can have this Akali rotate in time to help defend.
Yeah, it's just simply not possible. Even Bolulu is going to go ahead and drop that ward just to make sure Rosethorn doesn't try to illegally pick up their own Raptors. And I mean, look at the vision overall, level 1. ADD had managed to place a ward there as well, or that might have been Chad before the late invade came through. But the point is, like, you know where Rosethorn is at all times, and Rosethorn's another player where we talk about how he's going to be looking for a lot of these early gameplays. He's trying to set up his laners for success. On a champ like Sejuani, being able to do that is so very important. And when they know where you are most of the time, that gets a lot more difficult.
Now, Ray Prismal stopping Krugs from being taken by Chad, who's pretty much just set up a camp inside of the jungle. Could be a vertical clear, depending on how Rosethorn wants to go about things. But that is one of the problems with Sejuani, right? She's a slow jungle clear initially.
Right, and that's a problem that Rosethorn's definitely going to be dealing with, because, I mean, Chad, he's just going to be able to go ahead and do this, and I love it. Array and Prismal, again,
that's killing so much time, though, from the flash over the wall, flash away. Chad does have the splash cone, but the auto is going to connect, and the first blood is picked up by Array. So that makes up for this bot lane. That's a red buff on Array, but look at Joey and Wixie. They want this. They could even die between the turrets, depending, but we got to switch our attention, because there's just action all across the map. Look at how Array and Prismal are forced away from the turret. It's a level 2 advantage, but they're hitting Prismal. That's going to be the ignite on top of them. They make it back to the turret, though. There's a lot of damage thrown on both bot laners.
Okay.
No, Bolulu's here too. He's ghosted. He's ghosted for this. They are definitely setting up a dive this early, but it's the level 2, as you called out, that saves Array and Prismal.
Okay, so this is brutal. You end up you use all of your summoners bot lane, but you secure the kill onto Chad and get his flash out in the process. And I think that's a really nice play from Array and Prismal. They don't end up losing their lives, even though they lose out a good amount of farm overall. It might make it, I think it evens out, but we're going to see the replay here where they're like going to check if he comes back, and they catch him. And Prismal's like, all right, forget this. You're half health. Like, you're going down, buddy.
Respect to Prismal.
I love it.
It's a great play. He saw the dash used to get the stun onto Krugs. So he's like, he doesn't have that dash to stun and get away from me with flashing over me. So I can jump over here, cut off his retreat. There's no way that his bot lane could show up in time. And it's good, but the one problem is still when we get back to live, right? Even if Rosethorn has a bit of a CS lead, that is the red buff still secured by Chad on his own side. He doesn't really lose out on anything on his side because he spent so much time in Rosethorn's jungle that he can now easily free clear his side of the jungle to keep up.
Well, I will contest you on that point slightly, Magical, because I think it's important that Chad wasted a lot of his time, because look what's happening to Rosethorn. His camps, his topside camps are already down. Chad is still clearing his level 1 bottom side camps because of this early play. So I think there is still a lot for Rosethorn to be able to do. He's already backed. He already has some bonus stats coming through here. I think that is a huge win for pretty much everyone involved on the side of Golden Guardians Challengers. And now the big thing for Array and Prismal is, I mean, you just farm as safely as you can. You got an early kill on your Zeri. That first back, even with you being down 12 CS, is going to be a hefty one.
That's fair. That is fair, and that's why I think Chad is trying to visit the bot lane again. He hasn't even grabbed this blue buff. Keep that in mind. He has not touched it one bit, yet it's still relatively even with Rosethorn, but that will continue to lean in to Rosethorn having an advantage as Sejuani. If you're keeping up or you're slightly ahead of your jungler this early into the game, that is a great sign of things to come to make it so that Chad, who's notorious for those early plays like he was doing inside the jungle, taking away everything from Rosethorn. I like this. Rosethorn looking for the answer in bot lane, but there are all sums available for IMT. Gonna get the knockup, flash away from Wixie. The flash comes in. He's stunned, but he cleansed. So he's back to the turret, and it is safe.
But look at that. That's both summoners out of the Draven, and in one nice swoop, Rosethorn has managed to kind of flip that early advantage coming through here on the bottom side. So I really like the early game focus. Young really not enjoying his life at the moment here, but it's just how it goes. Big thing though, I mean, you can see he's keeping up in CS and XP, and that's the most important thing.
Okay,
right now,
wait a minute. This could work out well for IMT. They've got the stun, lockdown, and the kill on Rosethorn with Young flashing away, but just one auto attack out of Joey, looking for geometry to connect. Young dashes over the wall, but Chad chases down and picks up a double kill.
I'm gonna be real magical. That was as illegal as can be coming through from Golden Guardians Challengers. You're low health. I just don't see how that one ends up working. Yeah, Chad, he just wants to back. You're still a Kali. You're fine. There's nothing really you can do to Chad as he's going to be able to walk away from this and go for the recall that he's hoping for. And I think overall, that's a great punish from Immortals. Chad just being the position police comes through. I think the goal here was for Rosethorn to help get the wave in so a recall could come through.
Yeah, I think so too.
And because of the passive from Lulu here, a lot of damage coming through early on, because once you get 3 stacks, it's true damage. And Joey on the move is like, hey, just thought, just passing by, you know?
Yeah, I also like that from Joey, where there's 2 things I really like that are just kind of going under the radar, is Balulu used his Q to make sure that Young couldn't actually hit the honey fruits and get a heal quickly to get over the wall. And then Joey actually, noticing the dash was about to happen, hit the honey fruit, so one was picked up by Young, so he was slowed when he got to the other side of the wall.
Yeah, it's really nice overall. Small moves there from Immortals Challengers, and it's just them getting more gold onto their side of the map. And even though that early play worked out for Array and Prismal, you can see it. Immortals have 2 kills to their name. Chad, just like that, finds himself back in the game and with a lot of gold to spend. You can see it. Now he has the Warhammer. Now he has the Sheen. And just like that, this mid-jungle duo back to being on top, back to being able to skirmish incredibly well at this point in the game.
But I do want to then temper that with looking at the bot lane. Because Array, I mean, what was he down? It was 25 to 8 CS after the first couple of waves, and now is nearly even against Wixie after one gank from Rosethorn that got all the sums off of Wixie and even got the flash off of Joey. This is helping out a lot in a lane that should be difficult. And Rosethorn, he's level 6. He can revisit with no sums on Immortals.
Yeah, this is the thing. They don't know. There's no ward there. He has level 6.
They're playing very greedy. Body blocked by Joey. Wixie trying to get some damage out. That's going to be the Spider-Man away from Joey. But Wixie is underneath the turret in time. Trying to survive. He cannot. It's a double kill for Golden Guardians.
An easy 2-for-0 coming through here. And another successful play by Rosethorn in this early game. Really nice use of the Glacial Prison to punish the fact that, well, Wixie had no summoners to play with. And that means Array, this Zeri, who is supposed to come online later, is coming online a lot faster than Golden Guardians hoped for.
Yeah, and so with 2 kills to answer that of Chad, you can rotate, get the Dragon, first neutral objective of the game. We take a look at this replay, and as you called out during it, there's no vision. They had no idea.
Look at the wave, Magical. Like, you don't need to be here. That wave is going to come to you. You don't know where the Sejuani is, and you have no summoners as Wixie or Joey. So what happens? You get punished tremendously, and this Zeri now is just way miles ahead.
And so getting 2 kills, getting the Dragon. That's a gold spike for the team. Even if the gold is even, it's because it's just equated between the mid-jungle duo of Immortals Challengers and the bot lane of Golden Guardians Challengers themselves. So now, this is where we look at how these next neutral objectives will go. We have only a little bit of time until Rift Herald is going to spawn. Actually, no, it's already been taken. What am I saying? It's past 8 minutes. Chad's already gotten that while that play was happening in the bot lane. So now, this continues to bring up the conversation of these neutral objectives and when Array Prismal will meet the might of Chad Balulu.
That's the thing. I don't think that was Chad's original goal there. I think it was mid lane. Young playing very respectfully when that wave crashes under tower. even though he's losing out on a lot of golden CS, he's not giving away his life. He's not giving away potential plates as that opportunity dwindles. So Chad is going to have to look elsewhere. But Rosethorn says, works so nice, I'll try it twice.
No flash still from Wixie. It was an easy repeat.
It's just that simple. And I love it. This Draven, the Wixie special, as we all know it to be, is just getting dumpstered in this early game. And it is just that much better for Array, who we already highlighted. Great team fighter. So good at spacing, being able to maximize the amount of DPS that he's able to get off. And you get him on a champ like Zeri, 3-0 early on. I'm liking these chances for Golden Guardians overall.
I am too, and it's giving all the opportunity for Golden Guardians to gain control on this quadrant of the map around Dragon, inside of Chad's jungle, so he can't try to defend Balulu from a potential dive as he gets knocked up into the air. They chased him underneath, and they can take it. Prismal ate so much, but a little too much is executed. Oh no! Oh, the huge manatee. It didn't work out for IMT, but they will take a huge boar instead.
So that is something they're able to get back here. Kill onto Chad. But overall, I love the proactivity from Golden Guardians. And it's great because Young was struggling a lot in this matchup. As this matchup is going to go, they managed to get some gold into his pocket as well. Saving grace, Chad is now 3-1 and is going to be able to do a lot in these fights. And you can see the damage he's already putting into Rosethorn with that Divine Sunder. But I want to shift to, after this replay, of course.
Yeah, just taking a look at the it's a simple dive, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was really nice. Prismal's looking for these opportunities as well. Level 6 on Braum. It's just so easy. He already knew the flash was coming, set up that Glacial Prison, and no gold on that front was given back because of the execute side. It's all good.
Pixels.
Mostly good.
Pixels away that Chad almost had Heartbreaker connect on to Prismal. And Prismal, it's funny, he put up the shield, but it was much better that he died there than give another kill over to Chad.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does mean that you still end up going 1-for-1. You don't end up losing out too much. And I think the thing overall is this is good for Golden Guardians for the reason that when you think about how these comps are going to interact in later game team fights, I'm going to keep talking because I'm pretty sure a fight won't happen here.
No, keep talking.
That you have a lot of people who are going to be bypassing this front line of Immortals. The Kali, you have Concept who's playing the Cassante. Not a whole lot has gone on. But remember, this is a champion, a lot of CC, a lot of ability to get on top of carries and bypass people like Fiora.
Oh no, ADD. The all-out. I don't think you wanted that Concept. He tries to double dash to get away, but ADD, he's fast. He's chasing. He's hungry. All he needs is one more vital proc. Slows him down. He's over the wall. No way. Concept continues to run and survives.
He definitely wanted the all-out, the E cooldown, the extra distance you get, the ability to go well played from Concept, and he's going to be able to easily teleport back to that one. And that was spooky. I'm not going to lie, Magical. And not as spooky as, this bottom lane. Again, we're back to Wixie, who is under so much pressure.
He's struggling.
He is down CS, 0-2, no adoration stacks cashed in to speak of, and his turret is down to almost 1 plate remaining. It's a brutal time to be Draven.
This is where Chad, he's got 3 kills. He's got a sizable lead for his team. He's got to translate that and cash out. He's got to get Wixie some gold because he's down a half an item, which is sure only the Immortal Shield Bow, but as Draven, you want to be the one to get the first Mythic, and you want to snowball that out of control. We talked about this in Champs Select. I asked, outside of the snowball potential that IMT have, what is the backup plan? Well, they got to go with Plan B.
I think Plan B is Chad and Balulu. Chad is very fed, as we've been highlighting, and a way this one can work out is especially when you have engaged supports like Braum on the enemy side, or someone like Sejuani. If you manage to get a kill and start resetting, you still have Balulu, Artillery Mage, putting in damage from a distance, and a lot of ways for Chad to be able to have that impact. But it all starts with the first kill, Magical. That's what Immortals need.
Well, right now, Immortals are looking to get their first dragon to fight. Joey blown up, taken down easily by Array. While Chad, he's going to be the focus, looks to get away. And honestly, it's unfortunate for Immortals. They just couldn't get out of there easily.
And not a single kill was able to be picked up. And there it is, the reset potential wasn't there, and now Young picked up the shutdown from Chad and is in a wonderful position, as is Akali. Only down 10 CS, but up 2 kills. And now has a bounty to show for it. Everything coming up, Golden Guardians Challengers.
And we got to look at this one. I respect that Immortals do try to put up a fight, but Wixie's completely zoned out, and Joey He's not tanky enough to survive quickly, or like at all.
Nope, gone are the days where you take Aftershock on Nautilus. So it does mean that it's really easy for Joey to get taken down, and the rest is history. Young, very strong position. Array in a very strong position at 3-0-2 at the time. Just means that like this only gets harder for Immortals. Like, it's not impossible. Keep in mind, Immortals, there's still a lot of room for what we were highlighting to come through. You get a pick off in the side lane. You manage to start the fight off on your terms and get Chad resetting. Those are the ways you come back into it, especially because Immortals, like, when you really look at it, the lead isn't so substantial overall. The only real issue is that entire lead is bot side.
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
Even though it's like, yeah, the entire lead's bot side, yeah, you'll take that as Golden Guardians. 2,000, almost getting to 2,500 over a Draven. This is what happens when Draven can't cash in early.
Right, and we're getting to a point where I'm not sure Wixie is going to be able to cash in ever.
Nope.
So it is going to be tough. He's going to do the best he can in these team fights, get the damage out. But what we saw in that last fight is going to be basically how it's all going to go. Young, it has Wixie's number, Magical. 0-2 means he's worth the full 300 gold. So surely that Draven is where you have your sights set on as this Akali.
Oh, right now they're trying to contest the Rift Herald.
Oh,
getting forced out at the moment. A lot of damage thrown on to Prismal, and look at that. Bursted down by Balulu, but it's still the secure on the eye for Golden Guardian. So they trade one for the objective.
Yeah, and it's that move from Concept to come mid lane to make sure that they have that numbers advantage because ADD doesn't have the teleport. I like that decision.
Nice pull.
Oh, he's fine. This Draven does no damage, Magical.
Bro, I'm not looking at Draven. I'm looking at Balulu. I'm looking at Vel'Koz. That's where I'm looking for damage. Every time they're nearby, like, look at that. That's what I'm looking at. It's Balulu getting the damage, but Young with the flank looking for Wixie as Joey's deleted. Same with the bot lane completely. Balulu, he was able to chip at some of the health bars, but it's only so much. He needs some sort of reinforcements elsewhere outside of just Chad. They gotta at least get one more member in a good position.
Right, now you see Prismal Concept moving together just to force ADD out of the way, and overall, you're chunking this Fiora, making it harder for ADD to be able to join what's happening mid lane. Escort the Herald, yeah, you don't get the Herald, the turret break, but you still manage to get some good damage in, and it means one big wave, one more good play like that, and you've basically broken the map wide open.
And right now, I'm just kind of wondering what are the backup plans that, outside of just relying on Chad and Balulu, that IMT can work on, because we know that they're in a good position. They are going to be the ones, if they win, it's going to be off the back of them, but they can't do it alone. Not against a Fed Zeri that's already got 2 items.
I mean, it is going to be hard. Being an item down, a complete item down as Draven makes this one really difficult. And again, it's the pick potential you're looking for now. You need to be able to isolate someone, catch someone out before the rest of Golden Guardians can join the conversation, join the fight. When that happens, that's how you can get Chad resetting. That's how you can give Balulu time to start throwing out damage, chucking out skill shots, and of course, that ultimate. It does end up doing a lot of damage. Like, keep in mind, Balulu is keeping up a decent pace here, so he's going to be able to put out some pretty good amounts of damage. It's just that time to set him up and that ability to get a numbers advantage.
I don't avert your eyes, people. Avert your eyes.
Don't show the kids.
They don't need to see that. As right now, Joey should be fine. Chad's right behind him. Rosethorn didn't have any damage, even though Young was in the vicinity. It's still difficult to kill him as ADD looks to fight against Concept top lane, but not really. It's all pretty much Golden Guardians winning across the map.
Yeah, you're okay to skirmish at this point. You want to fight, get his health low. You have the tower at full health, and you want to just limit what ADD is able to do. Although, we did talk about how this matchup does suck a little for Cassante later on.
A little?
We're at later on, Magical.
Yeah, I was going to say a little. Right there's the all-out that comes in, looking for the trade as he dives away, but ADD chases it for a solo kill.
Really nice use of that Grand Challenge there, and it means this is exactly what we expect inside. And that's another thing you can really hope for Immortals at this point in the game, where no single player on Golden Guardians can match ADD now, especially once that Ravenous Hydra comes through. Oh
no,
later.
this is the problem with Vel'Koz.
Let me tell you something.
Assassins, man.
Let me tell you something magical. I felt that solo kill from Young, because when you play this champion into those artillery mages, laning phase is a nightmare. Those kills in the side lane, they're personal. It's like, hey, not so tough now, huh, buddy?
See, as someone who likes to play a lot of Vigar, I feel that. I know. And so when I saw that from Balulu, I'm like, I feel for you, friend. There's nothing you can do here. Even if you land every skill shot, Akali just needs to land one.
It be like that sometimes.
Wait a minute. There's an attempted play here on Prismo, who's only one defending underneath his own turret. But here's ADD. Wait a minute. What happened to Chad? He got blown up. And Wixie, again, a casualty that we already write off as ADD tries to get away with Joey, but he has no mana and he gets slowed down. This is the death knell for IMT in game 1. It's a triple kill for Array. Make it the quadra kill as Balulu. Does he want to try to fight and see if he can contest that pentakill, or does the team chase it? No, instead, they're making the proper call and looking for Baron.
It's a walk-away angle at this point. No teleport to show for it from Immortals, even with their low spawn timers. And Golden Guardians get their prize, the Baron. And they just continue to snowball this early game into a tremendous lead. Because look at this. We're talking 6K up. Objective bounties are up, and the Baron's been up for barely a minute. And it is already theirs.
There's early mistakes that happened for IMT, capitalized by Golden Guardians Challenger, that eventually accrued to a Zeri that is 10-0, 3,500 gold over Wixie. Baron buff at 21.5 minutes. This is a GG go next if I ever done seen one, unless a miracle can happen from Chad and Balulu.
Yeah, it's not impossible. As Cubby once said, it's not over till the fat lady sings, but she's taking a deep breath right now, Magical.
Well, see, I prefer the Yogi Berra one, where it's like, it ain't over till it's over. Because you just never know. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Also, who's the fat lady anyways? Nobody knows. Chad just gets killed right there underneath the turret. Concept taking revenge against his old teammate and saying, hello, I've learned how to play Cassante and I can beat you up.
Oh, we'll see. Can Young?
Okay. This one's actually a better matchup between Young and ADD. Compared to the Vel'Koz Akali matchup.
I think it's worse actually, because just because your spells, you can't cast your spells as often as Cassante can. Like, no. I'm talking about Akali versus Vel'Koz and Fiora versus. Oh, versus Vel'Koz. Sorry. Then you're right.
Yeah. Not Cassante. I'm looking at this matchup right here. So ADD actually has a little bit that he can try to fight back.
Young is kind of smoking him.
Yeah, he is, though. He's got 2 levels over him as well. He's got a full item above him. Plus 10 stacks on Dark Seal as we look at IMT trying to see if they can successfully defend their base. We've seen this happen many times so far in the Challengers League in just the 2 weeks of gameplay we've seen. But at the moment, it looks like Golden Guardians are a little wise, or are they? Do they know that ADD's there? Can they spot him out? They don't know he's there. Do they want to look for this flank? Try to see if they can find a pick while the turret is getting wailed away by Baroned up minions.
This is their best chance. Concept isn't nearby. This is the numbers advantage I was talking about.
It's actually Golden Guardians who try to go for the fight first. Joey is low, but he survives. They got the kill and shut down on a Young. And there's ADD in the backline looking for Array. Can he get on top of him? He can. They dodge away. And Array makes sure he fights back. He kites it away. His positioning is always immaculate.
And this is it, Magical. This could very well be the end of the game here. At the very least, bottom inhibitor is going down. Another wave is on its way. They can look to threaten the Nexus, as we're still 20 seconds on top in jungle, but they don't want to take any chances.
It's not over yet. Vel'Koz still up. That's too much wave clear for them to have to deal with, even with Baron on their side. So they make the call. They're going to back off. It's 1:15 until the next Dragon, Mountain Soul, is available, and having that on top of both Cassante and Sejuani means you're never going to cut through the front line.
No, probably not. But something Immortals are dreading at this point as Golden Guardians continue this lead to a commanding 9,000.
It's pretty much getting past the point of no return, right? There's no way to come back in this game unless it's a miracle.
We've seen things, Magical, you and I.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. The years that you and I have casted together, we have seen bigger comebacks. Yes, and right now Rosethorn He's just going into the jungle saying, you know what? This is revenge, Chad, for what you tried doing early into this game, taking away all of my jungle, my red buffs. I now own your jungle. Joey is just getting singled out by Rosethorn alone and taking that much damage that Joey barely is going to survive. As ADD is not even trying to attempt to turn this around, instead of looking for the turret, while the rest of IMT, I don't know, what is going on?
I've seen this movie before. Golden Guardians in between two top turrets going for these crazy plays is one of the clips in our clip package, actually, funny enough. So it's just seems to be a theme. When they're ahead, Golden Guardians know they're ahead, so they like to have some fun with it here. And ADD doing the best he can, splitting inside.
He gets 2 turrets for this. That's the second turret that he got on this push alone.
That's true. A lot of bonus gold will go over to this Fiora, and you are slowly narrowing the gap. Like, the nice thing is there are a lot of extra turrets for you to take. The problem is the only one who's going to be able to take it at this point is ADD. When things are happening elsewhere, ADD will be like, oh, hey, mid lane turret's looking kind of juicy. Let me come grab some of that. And although you get global gold a little bit because of the objective bounty, it's not the same as if you had teammates with you.
Yeah, especially now that Mountain Soul has been accomplished and completed by Golden Guardians Challengers to make them that much more difficult to kill. There's 2 stopwatches in their inventories for both of their carries. 3 items for Zeri. Right now, this is looking insurmountable. Unless somehow ADD and Chad can blow up Array initially, who's been really good on his positioning in this game as well as just in general. This is a tough task at the moment.
And Ray, a player who believes he can be the best AD carry in this league, putting up an 11-0-3 performance here. Things, at least off this game, are starting to look up for Golden Guardians Challengers. They just need to close this one out, Magical, and it starts with taking this top tier 2 turret.
Oh, and they can fight underneath it. They've got Joey picked with the Glacial Prison. He's pretty tanky. Tries to get away, getting the root and getting the stun on Prismal. As they look to flash in, Balulu had to flash away as well, waiting for the disintegration beam, but Young makes sure there's no artillery at all, and they clean up everyone besides ADD, who isn't even a part of the fight.
And that is yet another just flex of the gold lead coming through here, and you love to see it from Rosethorn. Every opportunity you can being taken here. And that's it, Magical. Game 1 is over. No one can stop what's about to happen.
Yeah, not with even though Joey does spawn here in about 5 seconds. It's Nautilus. He's 0-5. He's got an Even Shroud in his inventory, and watch these turrets melt. ADD's only now backing as they lost their first Nexus turret. Second one soon to go, as well as ADD will put up a little bit of a fight with Joey inside of their base. Golden Guardians peel back off, trying to get a little bit more KDA for themselves, but they realized the fight was not going well, so they peeled back to win the game.
I honestly think that's such a funny look, where it's just like at the end they're like, oh yeah, let's fight. I was like, oh my god, they're killing us. Never mind, just end the game. Yep. It was a great game from Golden Guardians from minute 1. It's just crazy how you don't expect that early play to happen, that first blood. If you're Chad, it was like, oh, there was no vision. They just checked. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to go back. Like, they'll never guess that I'm going to come back and get these Krugs. But, I mean, they realize, Prismal and Array, they're like, well, I mean, it's Draven Nautilus. We got to wait till this comes to our turret anyway. Let's just go ahead and come back, see if he happens to be there. And it's like, oh, well. Look who it is.
Getting that early first blood for Zeri, kind of helping out with the lane phase. Then the 2 ganks from Rosethorn to make sure Wixie was completely removed out of the game. A lot of good plays from Golden Guardians in that one, capitalizing on small mistakes out of IMT Challengers. But you know what? For now, I believe we're going to throw it to a break so we can get ready to talk a little bit with Steve, bring back Kangas, because, you know, it's always good having the bald man here. So make sure you stay tuned.